Hello, all you beautiful cunts. This is gonna be a solo boy. Feel like that's too loud. This is my new mic, by the way. Yeah, it's gonna be a solo boy today, cause well, to be honest, this is just a something I recorded in case neither me or Josh can do the podcast, and we need to upload something. Yeah, I can't remember the word for it, but here we are. I'm gonna do a little episode on. Gonna do a little episode on mental health and anxiety and depression and all that shit. So it's gonna be a very upbeat one. You can probably hear doors and that closing behind me, but we'll power through. First of all, I just wanted to sort of give a definition of anxiety, really, because I'm going to be talking about my own experiences and that, so I'm going to be talking mostly about anxiety because I have dealt with that more than I've dealt with depression and shit like that. So anxiety is, as many people probably know because it's a big topic in today's society, in today's zeitgeist. Anxiety is basically the part of your brain that creates or that interprets fear or creates fear. It's sort of like when you just get like a pump of adrenaline and there's nothing there to be to have fear about, so your mind just sort of creates shit. So you're really you've got anxiety over nothing, basically. Sometimes it's over why? Okay. Sometimes it is about something. It could be induced anxiety. But first of all, I just want to make abundantly clear. I'm not a fucking doctor or anything. I'm talking about things that I've experienced, and I'm going to be talking about techniques and shit that have helped me, but this doesn't mean it's going to work for everyone. So not take everything I say with a pinch of salt, but don't take it as gospel, if you know what I mean. So I sort of want to start off by talking, because I talked about before the sort of definition of anxiety or what anxiety is. I also sort of want to talk about the misdiagnosis of mental health problems in today's society. Fuck. Keep on forgetting not to cough into the mic. Fuck, what was I saying? Yeah, I think mental health disorders are being massively misdiagnosed in today's society, because apparently everybody has something that makes them fucking crazy now. And again, I'm bringing this up because, I was talking before about what anxiety is And I mean, people label themselves as someone who has anxiety when they feel a wee bit worried sometimes. Like they've got a job interview or they've got an essay or something and they get a little bit stressed. They say they have anxiety. Like I'm sort of making a generalization, but you find a lot of people do that. But that, I mean, it is a form of anxiety, but you can't label yourself as someone who has anxiety or someone that has like panic or anxiety attacks. Because if you've ever had a genuine anxiety attack, you know they're fucking terrifying. I mean, it can come in many forms as well. It's like some people get like shortness of breath and they feel like they're like trapped, or like they just completely mentally shut down and like they feel like they're trapped inside their own head and nothing that anybody really says or does can help them. Uh, yeah. Sorry, I was just reading notes here because it's kind of hard for me to talk about because I don't want to piss anybody off or say things that aren't strictly true. So I've just made some notes so I'm not completely letting my mind run amok, because that wouldn't be fair to use. I forgot to set a timer, so I don't know how long this is gonna be. Never mind, my music is keeping time for me. Yeah, but anxiety. I mean, anxiety as well. Even though I said is sometimes you get genuine, really bad panic attacks, but I think a lot of people just think like it's basically two ends of the spectrum. A lot of people think that any small bit of worry or stress is anxiety, and then on the other end of the spectrum, you have people that think anxiety is just panic attacks and complete mental shutdown. But anxiety can be a lot of things, such as like a lot of people who have anxiety will have trouble speaking to authority figures. Like that could be teacher, boss. It doesn't matter how nice these people are. A lot of the time, I think it's just the fact that they are authority figures. I really hope people coming in and out of doors isn't annoying as fuck. Yeah, because they're authority figures, there's just sort of that thing of fuck this person. This person potentially has control over me. I don't want to piss this person off because I can make my life shit. So you can miss out on a lot of opportunities because of anxiety and your inability to talk to people of authority or of what's the word, like high standing, basically. Because myself, like I've almost gotten jobs. Well, no, not almost gotten, but there's been jobs I've got interviews for because I sent in my CV. They like my CV, so they're gonna bring me in for an interview. So I had a good chance of getting the job, but I didn't turn up because of anxiety, basically. I also went through a phase a few years ago where I didn't leave the house, basically. The only time I left the house was to go to school because my mum and dad, thank fuck, forced me to go to school. And forced. To be fair, my mum and dad, like, I hated them for it at the time, but they did force me to go to a lot of things that I didn't want to go to. But in the end, it's helped me. So, shout out one time to mum and dad. Yeah. But even past few years, I've turned down good film and TV opportunities simply because A, anxiety, and B, because of a disbelief in my own abilities. Like, which is fucking stupid. Like, I know it's stupid, and in a way I sort of hate myself for it. But yeah, there's been things where, like, somebody's put out an opportunity and I haven't even applied because I think, oh fuck, I'm not good enough to do that. Whereas if I had a good sort of good perspective and good mind space, I should have at least gone and tried. If I wasn't good enough, that's grand. I get told to fuck off, basically. And I learn from that. Learn what I can't do and learn how to do them things. But because I didn't try at all, it's stunted my growth as a filmmaker or just like a content creator. Simply because I was too anxious, thinking that I wasn't good enough and that they would hate me and send me away. Which, I don't know, they might have told me to fuck off, they might have liked me and kept me on, but I don't know now because I never took the opportunities. So, that's a good bit of crack. Yeah. But, I mean, I give a shout out to mum and dad, but I also want to give out a shout out to all my pals because I fucking love my pals because they are very good at calming me and calming me and putting me in a good headspace. Just because they're good. I don't know fucking how, but they're good at talking me down, basically, and making me rationalize, which is something that I'm going to bring this up in more detail later, but yeah, it's rationalism is a fucking key part to dealing with anxiety in my experience. But yeah, as I was saying before, like, even for people out there who are suffering from anxiety or depression or any mental health shit whatsoever, if you've got good pals, they're good to talk to. Have a wee fucking sit down with them, explain your woes, or even if you just need a distraction, talk to people, because I know from experience, shutting yourself inside isn't healthy at all. It's not mentally healthy. It's not physically healthy. Fuck. Because shutting yourself inside is basically just keeping yourself inside your own head, letting things spiral and things get fucking worse and you start to hate yourself and you start to internalize a lot of things and don't let yourself move on from stuff, which is a fucking sin. Because everyone was gonna say everyone deserves to be happy, but well, yeah, true. Everyone does deserve to be happy. Nobody's born fucking evil. Yeah. What else have I got here? Actually, yeah. To even bring it back to what I was talking about before with pals and that, and just sort of what anxiety is and what it can do. This is supposed to have a fucking structure, but I've sort of just skipped over things, and then I've looked down and I've decided that I do actually want to talk about stuff that I skipped over. So yeah, it's gone a bit rambly. See, then I try and fucking explain myself, and then I lose track of what I was saying, and then I spend ages fucking sitting with dead air. So I'm gonna keep talking and look at my thing and try and find where I was. Yes. If you don't have friends around you because anxiety can make you not able, well, not able, because everyone has the ability to, like, you can get help, you can fucking take steps for yourself to help yourself with anxiety, but it sometimes it doesn't give you the ability to make connections with people because you're too anxious to talk to people, too anxious to leave your house. And I mean, just what I said before, like, if that is you, you don't feel like you have anybody around. First of all, family, talk to your family. But if you really feel like you don't have anybody around, there is therapy, there is your fucking GP, even. Just try and find somebody to talk to, some way to get some help, because you don't want to be living in fear for the rest of your life. Because, I mean, what's the point then? I mean, I'm not saying that fear is bad, because fear is not a bad thing. Fear helps us get away from bad things. And like, sometimes you need bad things in your life to make you appreciate good things more. It's a constant fucking cycle. Because if you think that someday you're just gonna live with yourself and not have any bad days, everything's gonna be grand, everything's gonna be sweet, that's called living in a fucking fantasy world. Because that's not gonna fucking happen in life. Life has inevitable pain and bad times, but it also has good times, and it's good times you should be focusing on. I can speak from experience, because I used to be, before I became a rationalist, I used to be of the school of thought of when life's going really good, having a good time, like, relationships with people are all good, education's going good, creatively going good, I always fucking always used to sabotage myself, and bring myself back down to earth by going, oh class, I'm in a really good time right now, we're having a time about it, and that just fucking means that something terrible is going to happen and there's bad times ahead. Even though that is true, one second. Even though that is true, that not because you're in a good time, bad times are ahead, but there is just inevitable bad times ahead. Bad times ahead. Um, there is inevitable bad times ahead, but that is not a healthy way of looking at it. If you're in the good times, enjoy the good times, as I am trying to do now. Right now, I would say that I'm very happy, probably happiest I've been in years. Everything just seems to be fucking clicking, except for job. Well, ish. Do have anxiety about leaving uni, because sort of stepping out into the unknown, whether fucking hell my hair shit. Where we go. Sort of stepping out into the unknown, into the big bad world of work, and I don't know whether I'll get work or not, because the film industry, like most arts industries, is the fucking Wild West. You don't know when you're gonna get a job, if you're gonna get a job. Whenever you do get a job, you don't know how long that you're gonna have that job for, and as soon as you know it, gone. On to the next thing. But like I've been saying, I've been trying to keep a very positive mindset about myself, so whenever I do think, fuck, I'm leaving uni soon, I don't know what the fuck I'm gonna do, and start getting anxious about it, I then sort of like try to calm myself down with rational thought, thinking you could look at this as a problem that you don't know what you're gonna do after uni. However, you could also look at it in the light of you have an opportunity after uni to do whatever the fuck you want. I mean, possibilities are, as I clichély say, fucking endless. By the way, do you just like the calm meditation music? Hopefully I'm not ruining it with my voice and me knocking things and doors closing and me talking shit, basically. If you think I am talking shit, I don't really give a fuck, to be honest. You can just not listen. It's always an option. I won't really care. If you want to listen, grand. Yeah. Been going 20 minutes. That's not too bad. Although I'm blowing through all my material very, very quickly. I suppose I'll start talking about techniques that I've used to help me, because I feel like fucking years ago I was very bad with anxiety. I mean, just after my granny died, I had very bad anxiety because I was coming to the end of school as well, and my A levels. My granny's funeral was actually the day before my first exam. It's a fucking Spanish speaking exam. But yeah, it was sort of just the thought of, fuck, is this gonna affect my exams? Fuck, I'm gonna get bad results, I'm not gonna get into uni, and I don't know what the fuck I'm gonna do. Sort of in the same position I am now, but nobody's died. Which, cracker. Yeah, I used to be in a very bad place with anxiety, but I have sort of coached myself. I didn't go to therapy or anything like that. I didn't even really talk to my mum and dad about it. I talked to my friends, because they're all sound cunts, and they're my boys, and I can talk to them about anything. They can talk to me about anything. We've just got that really nice close knit wee group. We can literally say whatever the fuck we want to each other. But I've wrote down a few techniques that I've used over the that I've heard about and used over the past few years. Some of them really help during panic attacks. I need to stop aiming. I use some of these I use some of these techniques during panic attacks, and I've found they've worked for me. But as I said at the start, I'm no fucking doctor, so these techniques work for me. They might not work for you. That's grand. Try and find your own shit if it doesn't work. I mean, the main message of this episode is that if you're dealing with anxiety or depression or any mental health shit, don't just fucking give up, because that is probably the worst thing, and the easiest thing you can do is just fucking give up. But I mean, no matter how bad it is now, there are ways to fucking help it. Your whole life isn't going to be anxiety and depression. If you try and fight your way through it, you may always, for the rest of your life, get flashes of this. But if you've got your techniques and you've got your ways of coping, then it should be all grand. Because you can try and maintain a healthy mindset, and that'll hopefully coach you through your bad times. That's all outdoor. Yep. One of my favorite techniques that I use, I call it the sensory technique. I've used this many times. I've told people about this one. It just fucking works for me. Again, it might not work for you. It might. Just fucking try anything you can. But basically what the sensory technique is, well, that's what I call it, the sensory technique. It's got other names that I can't be fucked looking up. Sensory technique is go through all of your senses. So there's sight, sound, taste, touch, and smell. And basically, wherever you are, you think of... I can't remember the official order, but I sort of do it in different orders every time, just whatever comes to mind first. So let's just say I'll find 5 things I can see around the room or around wherever I am. Find 4 things I can smell, 3 things I can hear, 2 things that I can touch, and 1 thing that I can taste. And what that does is it sort of grounds you and gives you a sense of familiarity about your surroundings. And it's sort of like a homing thing, where I can't remember where it fucking comes from, but it comes from some ancient shit. If you can detect all these things and there's nothing freaky or paranormal, well, not paranormal, but freaky or stressful about these things, then it sort of lets your mind know that, right, okay, we're in a safe space, we're grand. It can also just sort of act as a distraction technique as well. Because if you're thinking about, right, what's fucking 5 things I can see quickly, bang, 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 4 things I can smell, 3 things I can hear, yada, 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 yada. You're not thinking about, that was fucking weird, I don't know what I did there. You're not thinking about what's going on inside your head, basically. You're looking for external things to help you internally. Shit. That is some intellectual bullshit I just said. Goddamn. Oh, my truck's about to run out. Another thing that I've found can help is, I find this one very useful whenever it comes to dealing with a big thing that's causing stress. So not an anxiety attack where there's nothing really causing the stress, but it's just your brain has released a fuckload of adrenaline and doesn't know what to do with it, so it creates something. With this, I've used this one, for example, whenever my granny died, and things like losing jobs and things like that. Fuck me, my voice today. Yeah, bad shit like that. Let me just start the track over it. There we go. Ooh, baby. Yeah, so this technique is making pros and cons lists. I'll give the example of when my granny died. Like, it's fucking weird to say there's pros in my granny dying. Pros probably isn't the right word, but right, let's just fucking go through this anyway, even though it's not really the right word to use. But so I make cons. Obviously, my granny's fucking died. There's the sadness of not being able to talk to her anymore. She was a fucking lovely person as well, so just having her presence about. And then there's the rest of my family as well, who are all very upset, which makes me upset because I'm a very empathetic person. Yeah, and just general sadness about losing somebody that you love. However, there are upsides that I've found. Some I found right away, some I found a few weeks, months, years later. There's the fact that my granny was very sick and in pain before she died. So there's that thing of, well, at least she's not in pain anymore. Because even though whenever we went to the hospital, she was putting on a brave face and she was smiling and shit, but you could tell she was in pain. Which obviously isn't nice to see. Obviously she's not in pain anymore, so fucking grand. And then, on a very selfish note, because I would consider myself a selfish person. Not necessarily always in a bad way. I can find shit that, like, I'll do shit that's nice for other people that also makes me feel good because I did something nice for that person, or I get something out of it as well. Which, like, you wouldn't say is a bad thing, because you've helped someone out, you've been nice, that person's feeling nice, but at the same time it is selfish because I did it to make me feel good and make me feel nice. So not all selfishness is bad, folks. What are they just going on a rant about selfishness? I'm very forgetful today. I'm very tired. Yeah, I remember now. Basically, having that death, and I also had another death of a friend in 2013. Close enough friend. Those are the two deaths I've had in my life. But mentally, for me, it's sort of given me the ability to be able to cope with death and grief. And like at my granny's funeral, I only cried once. But I only cried once because, she was very important to me. As I said, she was a lovely person. Didn't have a bad bone in her body, as many would say. But I was able to hold myself together because I had experienced death before. I knew the feeling. The death of someone close before. I knew the feeling, and it sort of made me grow up a bit. Same with my granny's death. It made me experience great pain, which, again, there's pros and cons to that. Pros, it gives you pain. Or cons, it gives you pain. Pros, you learn something from it. You've learned to deal with grief. And it's sort of, there's obviously the shit of anything I do now my granny will never see. And obviously I want her to be proud of me. I hope she was proud of me before she died. But like many achievements and shit, she'll never get to see because she died whenever I was 18. There's not much room there for me to do big shit. But generally I think she was proud of me, which is nice. But at the same time, it's just like fucking, you have to move on, basically. You have to accept that, like, dwelling on it isn't gonna fix anything, isn't gonna bring her back. So, yeah, I can be sad about it, or I can just fucking take that shit in the chin, move on, and find other ways of gratification, basically, which brings it back to the selfishness. Not necessarily bad selfishness, but selfishness nonetheless. Yeah, so now this one here, I'm going to talk about. This technique is not one that I've used before, but one that I've heard about and heard that people get good results from it. Half of it I use. First half of it I use is that I listen to podcasts such as this one. Probably more calm than this one. Not this specific episode, but other episodes where we're not so calm. We're a wee bit loud and obnoxious. I listen to podcasts because, again, it's that thing of distracting yourself and focusing your mind on other things, using the left side of your brain that uses logic and like rationality and things like that. You listen to someone else talk and you're concentrating on that, and sort of uses the logic such like learning side of your brain, taking in information. The second part of this technique is what's known as the tapping technique. What that is you can tap your shoulders, like arms crossed like this, tap your shoulders. If you're an audio listener on Spotify or iTunes, you find like the joint between your arm and your shoulder basically, and you sort of tap there rhythmically. Also helps if, like, I would do it with a podcast, but for it helps better with music. You can sort of like tap along to the beat. There's other ones where you can like fucking tap your wrists and shit, and like temples and cheeks and ankles and dicks or whatever. But what that is supposed to do is, as I said before, the left side of your brain is like learning and logic and rationality, and the right side of your brain is, let me just get this right. Yep, it's like emotion and rhythm and like creativity and shit like that. So if you're tapping yourself to like the beat or like fucking just rhythmically, what that's doing is it's engaging the right side of your brain. So you got rhythm and like music and creativity and shit like that, and then listening to either music or podcasts or whatever engages the left side of your brain because you're taking in information, you're rationalizing it, you're thinking about it logically, and so it's like a whole brain technique. And that as well is just sort of a distraction technique, but it's also like it's a Chinese thing. The Chinese do it. They say that apparently, like, on your wrists and shit, you've got like energy lines, and shoulders and that, you've got energy or like flow lines, and like tapping them just sort of remind your body of like these energy lines. And it's sort of what? Yeah, it's sort of just like reminds your body and your mind that you're fucking alive, you're not in danger. Deep breathing does that as well. You can do deep breathing with it. Sort of concentrating on your breathing again, sort of or tells your mind to stop being a stupid cunt, and like just sort of think about how you're alive, you're not in danger, you can breathe, you're not, I mean, yeah, you're not in danger. It sort of just lets your mind know that. Yeah, another one that I've used before. You can sort of include this with the last technique, the tapping technique. Instead, if you don't have music or a podcast or something to listen to, you can also count upwards. I've done that before. Not with the tapping, but just counting upwards. I find helps. I find counting downwards really doesn't help at all. Because if you're counting upwards, there's no limit basically as to what number you can reach. So you could just do this for fucking ever. If you needed to. You obviously couldn't count for fucking ever, but you just sort of count up until you start to feel calm again. Whereas if you count down, like say you're counting down from 10, you count down from 10 and then you reach 1 and then that's it. Just nowhere else really you can go from that. But you never know. Counting down you might find works for you, it might not. You might find counting up works for you, or it might not. I think that's, oh, there's one more thing. Not something that, well, something I used for a little bit, but not very strong stuff. Yes, of course, folks, I'm talking about medicine. Yeah, you can go the medical route. I personally haven't gone to a GP or anything about it, but I have gone to Boots and I've got stuff called Calms. It's supposed to be soothing for anxiety. I did find it worked. It didn't completely get rid of my anxiety, but it helped me keep calm, and it also made me drowsy as fuck as well, so I was able to get to sleep at night early, which is cool. Helped fix my sleep schedule, which is completely fucked now, which is bad on my part, because that can also increase likelihood of anxiety and shit like that. So bad on me, and need to fix that. But yeah, medication again works for some people, doesn't work for others. I know somebody who I'm not gonna name because it's personal shit. Ooh, personal shit. Uses CBD oil, which I've heard good things about. I heard it's helped people. I think that's what your GP would normally prescribe. I mean, whenever you talk about CBD, you obviously immediately think of grass, which people have told me it works for them. I know people that smoke grass and says that it helps anxiety and that. I think the only problem with grass is though that if you start to depend on it and smoke too much grass, it can actually create mental problems. It can endanger your mental health, because grass doesn't just have CBD in it, it also has, I hope I'm getting this right, THC, which can fuck you up mentally. Basically, it can give you anxiety, it can give you depression, it can make you paranoid. So that's the only problem I can see with grass, really. Apart from that, it's fucking smoke up. Don't care. Not for me, personally, but other people can do it. I know people will do it. I have nothing against it, just don't really like it. I don't really like it personally. I don't like to smoke. Not that I don't like it, that I don't like the idea of it. I mean, if you talk about grass and shit like that, you can also get into the discussion of legalization of weed, which I think should be a thing, because the illegalization of weed doesn't prevent people from smoking weed. It just prevents them from smoking safe weed a lot of the time, because these cunts that grow up will just fuck a load of THC in it. Like high levels of THC, which in great doses can fuck you up mentally. I would love to have some stats, but me being the lazy cunt that I am, I didn't look anything up really before I started doing this. I've been going pretty well so far. We're about 45 minutes, I think, in, which is pretty cool. So I'm gonna round it off soon. And I promised earlier I'd talk about rationalization and being a rationalist. Yeah, whenever I was younger, I was a Christian, and then as I went through secondary school mostly, I got rebellious, as most kids do, and I said, fuck that, I'm not buying into this whole religion shit, don't believe in a big man in the sky that controls us, fuck this, I'm out, I'm atheist. And then, again, well, not again, I haven't said this before in this episode, but I mean, if you are Christian, if you are fucking Hindu or whatever, even if you're atheist, I have nothing against that. You can believe whatever the fuck you want. There might be a big man in the sky. You might believe in you might be agnostic, like I was, and believe in, well, not necessarily believe in some higher power, but it's like believing in, not ruling out, right. My understanding of being agnostic is you don't necessarily believe in any higher power, but you can't rule it out. Basically, you don't have sufficient evidence to rule it out, which I used to be. But now I would say I'm bordering on atheism and rationalism, which is basically, I've talked about it throughout this episode so far. It's basically that I believe that life has got inevitable shit coming my way. It has inevitable shit coming everybody's way, but it's your perspective on how you look at that negative shit, how you rationalize it in your head. I don't like the thought of that life is planned out and there's some higher power in control of me and or us. I like to think we all control our own destinies, but at the same time life is fucking random. Like next week you could be hit by a bus or you could win the fucking lottery. Like nobody knows. But yeah, I mean, in my most humblest of opinions, I sort of believe that, well, for me personally, believing in a higher power or that life is planned out. Everybody has their set destiny. Everyone has a route they have to follow. It made me more anxious and more depressed because some bad shit would happen. And I would think, fuck, maybe I'm not on the right route. Maybe I'm doing something wrong. Or maybe my route has me ending up fucking dead in a ditch. Something like that. And it just made more sense for me to think, right, fuck, nobody's in control of me. I'm not even really in control of me. Life is random and fucking life take the wheel. Not Jesus take the wheel, life take the wheel. Bad shit can happen, good shit but could happen, we don't know, but it's the not knowing and the opportunity that fucking excites me. Like, there's obviously the belief, I think, in every religion really, in that if you fucking work hard and apply yourself, you can not set your own destiny, but put yourself on the right route to bringing yourself to the right place and where you need to be. And that is my rant / ramble / I don't know what the fuck this was on mental health. If you think I'm talking shit, that's okay. I probably was, but sorry, that's 50 minutes of your life gone. 15 minutes of your life you could have used doing something else. That's one thing I want to talk about, actually. This has nothing to do with mental health, just something I want to talk about. I fucking hate the phrase, like, if you went and watched a movie and it was shite, I hate when people say, fuck, that's an hour of my life I'm not getting back. Hate to break it to you, pal, but every hour that is gone past is an hour of your life that you're not getting back. That's just a fucking fact of life. You're never going to get any time back. So you may as well live in the here and now, do shit that you want to do. Look at that, rounded it off to mental health shit. Do shit that you want to do, make yourself happy in the here and now. If there's shit you don't want to do, don't do it unless it can create better shit for you in the future. But do not dwell in the past, it is fucking gone. All the hours are hours that you're not getting back. So yeah, if you are feeling down, feeling depressed, feeling anxious, hope this maybe helped. Hopefully I gave you some good tips. I mean, I didn't really split it up into anxiety and depression. Like, anxiety and depression. Simply because I've fucking forgot this is free form and I just fucking rambled. I'm still rambling. I'm happy enough with myself that I managed to talk for near enough an hour. I've said all the shit that I want to say. So yeah. Make sure that you... Oh, fuck. Plugs. Make sure that you... No, I was going to do a thing, but I'm not. Make sure that you follow us on Instagram at Documented Bits. That's the same on Twitter at Documented Bits. If you are listening to the podcast on Spotify or iTunes, you can go to YouTube for the video version, youtube.com/documentedbits. As you can see, there's a bit of a theme here. If you're watching on YouTube, if you just want the audio version, if you want to listen to the podcast while you're doing your work or fucking whatever, playing FIFA or anything like that, head on over to Spotify and iTunes and just fucking whack it on and listen. Also, this goes for every cunt. If you would be so kind to go to iTunes and rate and review the podcast, that would be fucking cracker. There it is. It'd be fucking cracker, because if we get lots of good reviews and ratings, we head up the podcast charts and more people see us, and hopefully we can expand the podcast and maybe make some fucking money from it. And yes, that is all. Go in peace. Have a nice time. Good night.